Hi, folks. Welcome to Curtis Goes Corner. No BS here, just straight commentary. Please like and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi, folks. Welcome back to Curtis Goes Corner. Trump tears into Biden for spiraling tsunami at the border amid spiking immigrant numbers. I want to change that to unlawful immigrant numbers. Biden's administration has been creating new facilities to house migrants. This is one of my biggest fears. The three fears that I had when the Democrats took over the Senate for all intents and purposes with the vice presidential tiebreaker, the House in the Oval, is immigration was one. The second one was creating states to stack the Senate and then stacking the Supreme Court and the lower federal courts thereafter as well. Because that, folks, is permanent. H.R. 1, we might go into that later, that makes the mail-in voting, and everybody is registered and they have to opt out. It's crazy stuff, but that's not permanent. Those other three things are. One of my biggest fears is immigration, unlawful immigration. Former President Donald Trump on Friday tore into President Biden for what he described as a spiraling tsunami at the border. Yeah, I can't say that I can argue with that. Just as administration faces a spike in migrant families and unaccompanied children. Well, of course, you tell the whole world, hey, come on down. Our border is now totally out of control thanks to the disastrous leadership of Joe Biden, Trump said in a lengthy statement. Our great Border Patrol and ICE agents have been disrespected, demeaned, and mocked by the Biden administration. A mass incursion into the country by people who should not be here is happening on an hourly basis, getting worse by the minute. Can't say I can disagree with any of that. You know, Trump's bombastic and sometimes he's an ass, but this one he's spot on. The 45th president made a reference to the recent release of migrants who had tested positive for COVID-19 in South Texas. Yeah, my understanding is 109 that tested positive were released to the general population in Texas, who just stopped their a lot of their restrictions concerning businesses and like that for COVID. He also alluded to the narrowing of enforcement priorities for immigration and customs enforcement, ICE, as he declared that interior enforcement has been shut down. In other words, once they get past the border, past some of the border states, and they get in the interior of the country, that's it. They disappear forever. The spiraling tsunami at the border is overwhelming local communities, depleting budgets, crowding hospitals, and taking jobs from legal American workers, he wrote. True. When I left office, we had achieved the most secure border in our country's history. Under Biden, it will soon be worse, more dangerous, more out of control than ever before. He has violated his oath of office to uphold our Constitution and enforce our laws. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki responded to Trump's statement on Friday. We don't take our advice or counsel from former President Trump on immigration policy. You should. Which is not only inhumane, but ineffective over the last 4 years, she said. We're going to tread our own path forward, and that includes treating children with humanity and respect and ensuring they're safe when they cross our borders. Make sure they're safe when they come into this country lawfully. I know they're children. Oh, John, they're children. Yeah, I get it. I get it, okay? I really do. But we can't use the extortion method. We had to deal with Mexico to keep this under control, and obviously that's not in force anymore. I'm sorry, we can't take in everybody. We've taken half the world's refugees currently. 1/2 of the world's refugees. We're doing our share. We really are. Biden campaigned on ending a number of Trump-era policies and said about doing just that. He has stopped construction of the border wall, ended the migrant protection protocols, and scrapped other ending catch and release and scrapped orders ending catch and release. Separately, he and congressional Democrats have pushed for pathways of citizenship for illegal immigrants in the country already. A migrant protection protocols known as the Remain in Mexico policy, as hashed out in Mexico as part of an agreement not to impose tariffs on the southern neighbor, or one of a number of agreements ended by Biden. Yeah, all those executive orders, there was so many they couldn't cover them all. Let me read that again. The Migrant Protection Protocols, known as Remain in Mexico policy, and hashed out with Mexico as part of an agreement ended by Biden. Unbelievable. Now, the deal was we don't impose tariffs. This is serious, folks. There's also ended the asylum cooperation agreements with Northern Triangle countries that made migrants claim asylum in those countries. Those agreements are part of a series of policies the Trump administration took to end the 2019 migrant crisis. Now look at this. Look at this, folks. These are unlawful immigrants. And I don't want to hear no human beings illegal and all that. That's not what I meant. Of course they're human beings, and of course they have a soul, and of course they have a brain, and they want what's best for them and their families. I get it. It's not the same. Biden, please let us in. What do you think's paying for these T-shirts for these people? What do you think? What it is, this is big corporations letting in unlawful workers in the United States, and many of these poor people will end up in sweatshops or worse, making pennies an hour just so they could grease the oil of business. I'm sorry. It's true. It's absolutely true. This is the American version of the Chinese slave labor that they use to make their products cheap. This is the American version of it. I'm sorry, it is. And anybody that has any compassion for any of these people should know better. And they do. But their ideology is so embedded in their brains that they just can't think of reality. The Biden administration has said it is ending the cruelty from the Trump administration and replace it with an orderly, humane, and safe immigration process. We're not saying don't come. We are saying don't come now, because we will be able to deliver a safe and orderly process for them as quickly as possible, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said last week. But Trump tore to Biden for ending his diplomatic moves like MPP with the gross incompetence and radicalism of people currently in charge. The Remain in Mexico policy was incredible, but immediately abandoned by Biden, probably because it works so well. I agree. You can hate Donald Trump's guts. This immigration policy was legitimate and it was needed. Likewise, our safe third agreements in Central America were extraordinarily successful, so Biden foolishly ditched them too. Trump's remarks come after he hit Biden on the border at the Conservative Political Action Conference, also known as CPAC, on Sunday, when he accused Biden of creating a self-inflicted humanitarian and national security disaster. Yeah, it is self-inflicted. Trump is one of a number of Republicans sounding the alarm about the crisis at the border. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy requested a meeting with Biden about the crisis on Friday, while all the Republicans wrote to Biden urging him to reinstate a Trump-era national security declaration. Trump on Friday called on Biden's administration to act quickly to end the border nightmare they have unleashed onto our nation. Keep illegal immigration, crime, and the China virus out of our country, he said. This isn't just about crime, even though it's a huge part of it. Felons, sexual assaults, just the criminals in general. This isn't about that. Anybody knows even a little bit of American history, and I know a little, not much. I'm no expert by any means. If I remember correctly, we stopped open immigration basically in 1914. Now, you can't have both. You can't have open immigration and social welfare programs. You can't have them both. It's an impossibility. Even if we were financially stable, which we're not, where the trillions were going in debt and printing money like it's worthless, and it will be soon. I remember the inflation in the 1970s. I'm 64. It was nothing to have 12, 13, 14% inflation every year, and that compounds. So that means in 3 years, goods are 50% more than they were 3 years prior. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? They're going to have to print more money if these many illegals are in the country. My grandparents on my father's side, my father's parents, came from Italy as immigrants. I have zero problem with them coming through the proper way, fill out the paperwork. Yes, it's a huge pain in the behind. Yes, it's sometimes expensive. I consider if you're a non-citizen of the United States and you want to move here to become a citizen, it is a privilege, not a right. Just as if I wanted to go live in the UK. I love England. I hate their government and their lack of freedoms, but I love it. I was there a couple of times. Scotland too. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. But I hate their government setup. I have no more right just to walk into Scotland, England, or Wales, or anywhere in the European Union for that matter, and do what I want. Try sneaking into Mexico. And if you're caught by the Mexican police or the federals down there, you'll be put in jail. Period. Period. Now, granted, not many people are sneaking across the Mexican border for a better opportunity, believe me. That's not the point. We take half of the world's refugees. We do our share. And to make us feel guilty about that is ridiculous, it's evil, and even worse, it's dangerous. Flooding the country with a lot of workers keeps wages low for low-income people. Period. These geniuses want to raise the minimum wage to $15 and then yet flood the country with millions of low-skilled or unskilled workers. It's a formula for disaster. Disaster. You can't have both, just like you can't have open immigration and welfare programs. You can't flood the country with millions of people that are low-skilled or unskilled and raise the minimum wage. It will be a disaster. And remember all those people that hated Donald Trump's guts. Oh, he's talked too much. I wish he'd effing shut up. He's on Twitter. He's arrogant. He's pompous. It's the policies that matter, not the personality. Believe me, it's the truth. The policies and not the personality. And until next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.